Have you ever wondered how many traders actually pass a prop firm challenge, how many traders receive a payout, how much money they make, and how long it actually takes to pass one of these challenges? Well, I've been running a prop firm for almost 3 years now, and today I'm going to be pulling back the curtain behind all of these stats and how a prop firm really operates. From pass rates, payouts, our most popular challenges, and what makes the difference between a trader that actually receives a payout and one that fails, all of that and more I'm going to be revealing today because these are the secrets that most prop firm owners don't want you to know. Now, to give you a little bit of a backstory, I have been running Lark Funding for almost 3 years. We launched on June 1st, 2022. And prior to launching the company, I traded full-time as a prop firm trader for 2 years without a single other source of income. I first got funded with FTMO, and I very quickly learned the power of prop firms, of just how life-changing these can be for traders. The first payout I earned was $6,900 and because I'm in Canada after the exchange, it was about $10,000 at 21 years old, which was a completely life-changing amount of money for me. So from that very moment, I was completely hooked. But at the time, there were still 30-day and 60-day time limits on these challenges. These time limits, along with a bunch of other things, was the reason why I started Lark Funding. So we launched when time limits were still a thing, but we didn't have any time limits. And I really wanted to bring transparency to the industry. Now, that is kind of a stereotypical thing to say. Most prop firms say, oh, we're transparent, we're sustainable, we're reliable. But we learned in 2024 when dozens of firms, including some of the largest firms in the industry, such as the Funded Trader, closed down, we quickly learned that that actually is not the case, which is partially why I'm making this video. I don't just want to say we're transparent, sustainable, and reliable. I actually want to reveal these numbers because when I was a trader myself, I always wanted to know. I was so curious. What percentage of traders actually pass? What's the average payout size? What makes the difference between a trader that passes and fails? So that's a little bit of backstory behind my trading journey and the journey of Lark Funding. Without further ado, let's get into some really interesting and juicy statistics. So let's start off with the challenge pass rates because this is probably one of the most interesting statistics, and I won't make you wait for it. So out of a trader, all the traders that sign up for a challenge, what percentage will actually pass? Now online, most firms, most traders say only 10% of traders actually pass. Let's find out if that is actually true, broken down per challenge model. And we're going to do a lot of talking about different challenge models, which are the most popular and which ones lead to the most success. So first things first, when it comes to one-step challenges, this is the model that we launched with back in 2022. We launched with just a one-step model because I, as a trader, love the simplicity, a 9% or 10% target. You hit that, you're funded. The challenge pass rate for the one-step challenges is 14%. So it's pretty significantly above that so-called industry standard of 10%. Out of 100 traders that take a challenge, 14 of those traders are going to go on to receive a funded account. When it comes to two-step challenges, it's slightly lower at 11%, which is closer to that 10% industry standard. Now, when it comes to one-step versus two-step, it really seems like the most popular is the two-step. At least since we launched Lark Funding, that is the case. But that's shifting, right? So when you had FTMO, these really large companies, they really started out with the two-step model, but there's so many changes that have taken place with one-step, three-step, which we'll talk about. Instant funding is getting really popular. So I think we're starting to see a shift away from two-step just being the go-to for traders. Traders are really starting to explore all of the options that are available to them. And then lastly, the three-step challenge, which many of you watching might not be aware of the three-step model that we offer at Lark Funding, and rightfully so. You're probably thinking one step is hard enough to pass, two steps is hard enough to pass. Why on earth would I ever take a three-step model? And 99% of the time, I would agree with you. Every single, of course, I'm biased, but I have yet to see a three-step challenge that is actually worth taking, except for ours. And I'm not just saying that to sell you on it. I think objectively it's true. I haven't seen anyone offer the same model as us, which is no daily loss limit, which is a huge selling point. The targets get easier, 5%, 4%, 3%. I've seen three-step challenges where it's 6, 6, 6, 7, 7, 7, or even 5, 5, and 5, which is crazy. Ours is 5%, 4%, 3%. And on top of that, the challenge prices are really good. So you can get a 100K challenge for $370 before a discount. So All that to say, our 3-step challenge is actually quite popular, which might be against what you might expect. All that to say, the pass rate on that is 10%. But if you can pass the first phase, after that, the success rate goes up quite a bit because it gets easier. So when you kind of combine these, we're not far off from the so-called industry standard, what's always pushed, of 10%. So it's just slightly over 10% of traders that will sign up for a challenge and will actually pass. So keep those in mind. Pretty interesting stuff. When it comes to our most popular challenge, we kind of touched on that a little bit of how I said our 3-step is decently popular. But when I was going through the data, going through the analytics, I was quite surprised to find out that overall our most popular challenge is indeed our 3-step, and it accounts for 36% of all of the challenges that we sell. So I was really quite surprised by this, but I think it goes to show that it's a unique offer. It's something that no other firm is offering. It's even similar to what we're offering. So I was surprised, but not surprised at the same time. Now, as I mentioned, why is this? Well, not having a daily loss limit, targets of 5%, 4%, 3%, plus low prices make it really attractive. And of course, you can sign up for that down below. Okay. Now, our 1-step and 2-step challenges after that are very evenly split. So I don't do math in public, but take 100% minus 36% divided by 2, and that's the split that you're going to have between the 1-step and the 2-step challenges. So they're really quite evenly distributed. They're equally popular. So that's how it goes for our most popular challenges. We just recently released an instant funding model, but because that comes at a higher price point, it's not quite as popular as the classic challenge model. We still sell some, but by no means is it as popular as the typical challenges. More and more prop firms are releasing instant funding models, and I've broken it down before how there's really 2 models that we're seeing within the instant funding. We're seeing the incredibly restrictive ones, but that come at a low price. So you can get a $100K instant funding account for $500, or the one we sell is $4,500. It's very, very expensive, but it's actually tradable. Whereas the ones that are $500, you really have to read the fine print. It is so incredibly restrictive most of the time with consistency rules that make it near impossible to ever receive a payout. I'm not just saying that. We literally plugged in our statistics and we said if 1% or less of traders are going to actually receive a payout, it's not going to be worth it for the traders. And so I think with time, traders are going to catch on to that, and they're not going to be interested in the cheap instant funding accounts. So those are our most popular ones. Now, funded to payout percentage. So of the traders that pass, so that 14 to 11 to 10% of those traders that actually pass a challenge, how many are going to go on to actually receive a payout? Well, when we run the numbers, when it comes to 1-step challenges, 45% of those traders that pass will receive a payout. So let's say, for numbers' sake, let's say the pass rate were to be 20%. That means out of 100 traders, 20 will pass. And of those 20 that pass, 45. So about 10, like 9.5 traders will receive a payout. This is pretty typical. Usually we see across a long enough time frame that about 50% of traders that pass will go on to receive a payout. So by no means is passing a guaranteed certificate to success. Trading a funded account, from my own personal trading experience, is really a different skill set than passing a challenge. It's kind of 2 different approaches that you need to take. But overall, 45% of those traders have that skill set and will actually receive a payout. 2-step challenges is a little bit higher at 55%. I think this probably comes down to there being more drawdown, more breathing room on the 2-step challenges. So ours is a 10% max drawdown. So you have more breathing room as opposed to the 1-step. It's a maximum drawdown of 6%. So a little bit more breathing room leads to a few more payouts. And then our 3-step is really smack in the middle. I think that probably is because there's no daily loss limit. So traders have a little bit more flexibility and breathing room on a per trading day basis. The maximum drawdown is tighter at 5%, but because it's static and there's no daily loss limit, once you're up 2, 3, 4%, you then have so much breathing room each and every day because there's no daily loss limit. So you combine these and you're really much smack in the middle of industry standard of a 50% funded to payout ratio percentage. So the next question is, well, how big are the payouts? I said my first payout was 10 grand Canadian, which was absolutely life-changing. Was that an outlier? Are traders experiencing roughly the same thing? Well, when it comes to breaking it down across the board, the average payout percentage to account balance is 4%. So obviously, if you sign up for a larger account, right, it's more expensive. You need to get back that money. So from an account size, an account balance to payout percentage, it's 4%. So if you have a 100K account, the average payout size is going to be $4,000. If you have a 200K account, the average payout will be $8,000, and then it goes down from there. So just picture in your head whatever challenge size you're thinking of taking or you have taken, right? 4% of that account balance is on average the payout size. So if you've received a payout and it's a little bit less than 4%, you're just slightly off from the average, or if it's above, you're an overachiever and you're doing great. So in dollar terms, though, if we split it up across all of the account sizes, the average payout size at Lark Funding is $2,800, which is life-changing, right? That's $2,800 US dollars. So depending on where you live, it's probably going to be even more. Like myself in Canada, that'd be close to $5,000, which is absolutely life-changing money. Okay, so next up, we want to get to that $2,800 payout. The question is, why do traders fail? Why are only about 14% of traders passing? And of those that do pass, why do only 50% of them receive a payout? Well, the numbers are pretty shocking, but it should be shocking in a good way for you. It should be motivating because it shows what you need to do to be different. So 62% of traders hit the maximum drawdown level. Now, this isn't surprising. You would think, okay, well, you can only draw down so much. If you hit it, you fail. This isn't too surprising, but the next one is what's the most surprising, which is that 20% hit the daily loss limit. Now, we don't have a daily loss limit that is less than 5%. So we're on our one-step and two-step challenge model. The daily loss limit is 5%, which means 20% of traders are losing 5% or more in a single day, which is crazy. Okay, I'm sorry if this ruffles feathers. Prop firm owners won't tell you this because they want you to fail. But the truth is, if you were losing more than 5% in a single day, you're a gambler, you're not a trader. And again, you get to pick the game that you want to play. If you want to gamble, by all means, do it. But if you want to learn the craft of trading, of routinely and consistently pulling money out from the market, no professional trader is going to lose more than 5% in a single day. So if you want to be better than most, just don't fall into this category and you'll already be doing better than a lot of traders, okay? 3% of traders surrender their account for a 75% discount code. So this is a feature we have on our 3-step program. If you're struggling, you make a couple of mistakes, you can surrender the account so it breaches the account, and then we'll send you a 75% discount code. So this will really help you save a lot of money and get one step closer to actually passing. Now you're probably thinking, well, where's the other 15 odd percent? And we have, because of the brokers that we use, a 30-day inactivity period. So traders, if they don't take a trade, even if it's 0.01 lot, the account will become disactivated. However, as long as you email us, as long as a client emails us, we can always reactivate it. So those that get reactivated will once again fall into one of these 3 categories. Okay, so now let's dream big. Let's shoot for the stars. I've seen traders at other firms on Twitter, post payout certificates that are 6 figures. It's incredible. Now, we have to take that with a grain of salt. I have said from day one of launching Lark Funding, prop firms fake payout certificates. And we saw that in 2024. I'm not going to name firms, but there are public lawsuits that are taking place because firms have faked payouts and it came out. So you have to take everything, especially with influencers, with a grain of salt. There's tons of affiliates that work with prop firms. The prop firms will give them a fake payout certificate. Their followers fall for it. It's a mess, okay? So I'm not saying you can't make incredible money. Of course you can. FTMO alone paid out $75 million in 2023. Of course you can, but I'm here to share with you the actual true numbers. The most successful Lark trader of all time is a trader from the United States. He earned over $50,000 with us across 4 to 5 payouts over 4 to 5 months. So absolutely incredible. If you think you can beat that, we welcome you to come and try and beat it. But this is the most successful trader that we have worked with. Absolutely life-changing. $50,000 US dollars. And that was across a few payouts, 4 to 5 payouts. And it took him 4 to 5 months. Now, here's an interesting one. Country profitability. Which country has the best traders? This is really an interesting one, and I was really surprised by the numbers. So the most successful country is Turkey. Now, this was surprising, but also not, because I know that Turkey has a really, really strong trading community, very similar to the United Kingdom. There are tons of FX traders in Turkey, and really the data supports this. There are tons of traders in Turkey that are doing incredibly well. So, as of January 1st, 2024, we took the data across the board, and Turkey is the most profitable country. India takes second place. This for me was slightly surprising. I don't have anything against India. I visited India. It's a very, very nice country. But if I had to guess, I wouldn't have guessed that India would take second place. Third place is Australia. I know Australia, there's lots of traders there. But again, I was a little bit surprised. I would have thought, maybe the UK, the US, Canada, maybe one of those countries would have taken the top spot. But no, Australia takes third place, followed by UK being fourth. This one was not surprising. And Canada took fifth place. So the United States isn't even on there, which is remarkable, but they are not far behind. I think they fell in like 6th or 7th or 8th place in terms of profitability, but they were very close to Canada. The difference was very, very small. I believe Malaysia was 6th, very close as well. These stats make it clear that prop firms can be absolutely life-changing. And unlike other firms, when we say that we are transparent, I hope this video taught you something and will help you get one step closer to achieving your trading goals. A lot of prop firms, especially owners, don't want you to know this stuff, but I hope that it was enlightening for you. If there's a data point that I didn't share today, let me know in the comment section, because hopefully I can get that for you. I answer and look at every single comment. And if you would like to become a Lark trader, we would love to have you. You can click the link down below. We have multiple challenge types, and based on the data here, hopefully you can see the potential that there is in taking one of these challenges and becoming a Lark trader. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace.